Welcome to the 5-Minute Murder podcast from 5minutemurder.com, where every week we take a look at a murder, a murderer, a serial killer, or an assassination in about 5 minutes. Episode 8. The Murder of Sir Thomas Overbury. The murder of Sir Thomas Overbury in 1613 was one of the most scandalous and sensational events of early 17th century England, a case that rocked the court of King James I and exposed the dark undercurrents of power, intrigue and revenge that lay beneath the surface of the Jacobean elite. Overbury, a poet, courtier, and confidant of Robert Carr, Earl of Somerset, fell victim to a web of deceit and malice that ultimately led to his untimely death in the Tower of London, where he had been imprisoned under suspicious circumstances. The subsequent investigation and trials revealed a plot of such complexity and wickedness that it has remained a subject of fascination for historians and writers ever since. Thomas Overbury was born in 1581 in Warwickshire, England, into a respectable family. He was educated at Queen's College, Oxford, where he distinguished himself academically before moving to London to pursue a career at court. Overbury's intelligence and wit quickly earned him a reputation as a talented poet and a sharp observer of courtly life. His literary works, particularly his poem The Wife, which extolled the virtues of a chaste and obedient wife, gained him further recognition. However, it was his friendship with Robert Carr, a handsome and ambitious young Scotsman, that would define Overbury's life and ultimately lead to his downfall. Robert Carr, a favourite of King James I, rapidly rose through the ranks of the court, eventually becoming the Earl of Somerset. Overbury, who had become Carr's closest advisor and confidant, played a significant role in his friend's ascent to power, providing him with counsel and helping him navigate the treacherous waters of court politics. The two men were inseparable, and for a time their partnership seemed unassailable. However, their friendship began to unravel when Carr became romantically involved with Frances Howard, the young and beautiful Countess of Essex. Frances Howard, born into the powerful Howard family, was married to Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex, in a union that had been arranged when she was just 13 years old. The marriage was unhappy, and Frances soon became estranged from her husband. When she met Carr, who was by then one of the most influential men at court, the two quickly embarked on a passionate affair. Frances, determined to marry Carr, sought to have her marriage to Essex annulled on the grounds of non-consummation, a move that required the approval of the king and the church. Overbury, recognizing the dangers of the relationship and fearing that it would compromise Carr's position at court, vehemently opposed the match. He attempted to dissuade Carr from pursuing the affair, warning him of the political repercussions and the damage it could do to his reputation. However, Carr, deeply infatuated with Frances, ignored Overbury's advice and became increasingly resentful of his friend's interference. Frances, too, viewed Overbury as an obstacle to her ambitions, and she began to plot his downfall. In April 1613, Overbury was offered the position of ambassador to Russia, a move orchestrated by Frances and her allies to remove him from court. When Overbury refused the appointment, seeing it as a means of exile, he was arrested and imprisoned in the Tower of London on charges of contempt. His imprisonment was supposedly a temporary measure, but it soon became clear that he was not to be released. Over the next few months, Overbury's health deteriorated rapidly, and on the 15th of September 1613, he died under mysterious circumstances. Officially, his death was attributed to natural causes, but rumours quickly began to circulate that he had been poisoned. These suspicions were confirmed 2 years later when in 1615, an investigation into Overbury's death revealed that he had indeed been murdered. The plot to kill him had been masterminded by Frances Howard, now married to Carr, with the help of several accomplices, including Sir Gervase Helwys, the Lieutenant of the Tower, and Anne Turner, a notorious figure at court who had provided the poison. Overbury had been subjected to a slow and agonizing death, with his food and medicine laced with various poisons, including mercury, arsenic, and powdered diamonds. The revelation of the murder sent shockwaves through the court and led to one of the most sensational trials of the Jacobean era. Francis Howard and Robert Carr were both arrested and charged with Overbury's murder. The trial was a spectacle, attracting immense public interest and laying bare the sordid details of courtly life. Francis, in an attempt to save herself, confessed to her role in the murder and implicated her husband, although Carr maintained his innocence. The trial also saw the conviction and execution of several of their accomplices, including Anne Turner, who was hanged in a yellow starched ruff, the very fashion she had popularized at court, which added a macabre touch to the proceedings. In the end, Francis and Carr were both found guilty and sentenced to death, but their lives were spared by King James I, who commuted their sentences to imprisonment. The king's decision to show clemency has been the subject of much speculation, with some historians suggesting that James, who had favoured Carr for so long, could not bring himself to condemn his former favourite to death. The couple was eventually released from the Tower in 1622, but their reputations were forever tarnished, and they lived the remainder of their lives in obscurity. The murder of Sir Thomas Overbury was more than just a crime of passion and ambition. It was a reflection of the corruption and intrigue that pervaded the Jacobean court. The case exposed the dangerous liaisons and power struggles that defined the lives of the elite, and it served as a grim reminder of the lengths to which individuals would go to achieve their desires. Overbury, once a man of great influence and promise, became a martyr to the ruthless machinations of those who sought power at any cost. The legacy of the Overbury affair has endured, with the story being retold in various forms over the centuries, from plays and poems to historical analyses. It serves as a cautionary tale of the perils of courtly life and the often fatal consequences of political ambition. Sir Thomas Overbury, whose life was cut short by treachery, remains a symbol of the darker side of human nature, where envy, greed, and the thirst for power can lead to betrayal and murder. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the 5-Minute Murder podcast from 5minutemurder.com. If you get a chance, please leave a review wherever you get your podcasts, as it will help us to grow. Also, why not check out our other 5-minute podcasts, 5-Minute Biographies, 5-Minute History, and 5-Minute Mysteries. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.